Captain Phillips is an inspirational story that becomes totally uninspired when you learn the truth. This story might seem like your typical Hollywood inaccuracy, but there's some stuff going on behind the scenes with Sony that you need to know about that makes it pretty reprehensible. This film does try to follow some of the book. As with so many of these, dialogue is taken straight from its pages. But just wait till the end of this, because it gets fairly despicable. The pirates are depicted as an isolated group, but this is just a misconception. They were probably communicating via satellite phones the entire time, and piracy in Somalia is not just some small isolated groups, but part of a much larger problem. Captain Phillips did ignore warnings of Somali pirate activity, but it was way more flagrant than what the movie lets on. He was basically trying to save time, despite fervent warnings that the likelihood of an attack was way too high. This movie goes way out of its way to try to turn Phillips into some sort of hero, which is against how Phillips himself has tried to tell the story. This is probably because of the way news outlets covered the story when it first breached. The movie shows Phillips trying to be meticulous about security precautions, and basically none of this actually happened. Locking doors and fastening everything down did not happen, even once the pirates were on board. Another instance of the movie doing this is that he was not doing a security drill when the pirates attacked. Phillips ordered a fire drill, despite the pirates being within visual range at open sea. He could have prepared for the attack, but instead he did something intentionally counterproductive to the situation. There was one more pirate speedboat than depicted in the movie, but it was turned away by Phillips' fake call to the Navy. Most of the crew fled into the engine room and locked the door without any orders to do so. They were trapped there in 130-degree heat for hours. They did not spread broken glass as a trap either. Phillips did not bravely offer himself instead, or any kind of self-sacrifice. That's all bull that the movie is trying to feed people. None of this shoot me stuff. Phillips did not lead the pirates below decks either. Instead, he actually sent somebody else. As they were getting into the lifeboat, Phillips is shown heroically fending for his crew. In his own words, "I didn't give myself up. I was already a hostage." He was supposed to be let go, but they reneged on that promise, as pirates are apt to do. He was a victim, not a hero. His ordeal on the lifeboat is too short. It's shown as though it were a day and a half, when in reality he was a hostage for 5 days. It could have been longer if the pirates weren't stupid enough to threaten his life by firing a rifle right next to his head. Phillips did not write a final letter during the ordeal. He certainly prayed a lot, but that is just a stylistic flourish to represent his fear better than on-screen prayer can. The final scene of Phillips going into shock was actually improvised on set. The reality isn't documented, but he has said that when he was asked if he needed anything, he said, "I'd love some beer." That's somewhat contradictory to being in shock. Now here's the juicy part. Off-screen, the real crew had been all over the media castigating this movie for its misrepresentation of Phillips as a hero. They've done interviews and several press releases. Before the movie was ever made, several crew members actually sued Maersk, saying, "Captain Phillips did not follow orders. The ship was attacked and he was responsible." You'd think that would be enough, but Sony, being the wonderful corporation it is, tried to hush some of this up by paying crew members before the movie's release for their silence through signed NDAs. They didn't want to deal with the ignominy of falsifying the truth, so they tried to hush it up with this kind of half-assed conspiracy. Well, that doesn't stop news outlets, and just goes to show how egregiously unscrupulous they really are. How many times do people have to learn? Conspiracies do not work. Someone always talks. You know, this movie's hero worship isn't that immoral until you factor in Sony's corruption. but this whole thing pushes it all the way into disrepute. So, thanks for watching. Tell me what other based on a true story movies need busting in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and check out some previous episodes. I'll see you next time.